Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today we're going to transplant some trees. Here in Texas, we have a harsh summer than winter for the plants, and we also have a shorter spring but a longer fall in a normal year. The beginning of the fall is actually a good time to transplant trees. Instead of like other places, you may transplant trees in the beginning of spring. The two trees that I'm going to plant in this area is a fig tree that I bought it in spring from a garage sale, and a lemon tree that I grew from seeds. This is about 4 or 5 months of growth. I have been babying them and have them survive through our 3 months of heat dome. You can see that they start to push out new growth. Both of them have some sun damage because we had close to 110 degrees Fahrenheit and 42 degrees, 43 degrees Celsius heat for the last 2 or 3 weeks. They are really stressed, but the night temperature has dropped, and that's where the new growth come from. This week will be the first week that we broke the heat dome, and the temperature is going to be very cool. That's the perfect time to transplant these guys in the ground so that they can set roots, and until the freezing temperature hits, probably will be hopefully in January or February. The area that I will use to plant this tree is this strip over here. It's south of the single white, and so of course for the lemon tree, I want to have a little bit of protection from the cold. For the fig tree, it's local here. The person I bought the fig tree from, they have the mother plant just grow by the mailbox, and they survived the cold, so they should be cold hardy. But the lemon tree, of course, is a different story. They may need more winter protection. So what I'm going to do is to plant the fig tree at this corner over here, and that will shield the lemon tree from the west wind, which is sometimes could be cold. And then plant the lemon tree in the middle. It will be protected both from the west and the east, and then from the north, the single white will provide the protection. So this spot probably is the warmest spot in the whole farm, and that will be reserved for the lemon tree. The strip over here, as you can see, is overgrown because the chicken come here and eat whatever I planted over here, like vegetables and all that. Somehow they don't bother with the weeds, and I was hoping that they can come and scratch out and kill all the Bermuda grass and all that stuff. They just let it grow and hide in the shade from the sun, so they created the shade for themselves. But that's not what I want. So I'm going to clean this area out and then plant the trees there. So that didn't take me much time to clean, maybe 30 minutes or so. And one thing I noticed is actually, even though this strip is maybe only 8 feet, 10 feet long, and I see that the soil actually is different. In that area, it's much wetter. The soil is still moist. And then in this area, you can see that there's a huge cracks, and it's very dry soil. There could be 2 reasons for that. One is back there, Chris dug some swale that probably had stored some water underground for that area over there. Another reason, of course, is the single white provides some shade for that area in the afternoon, while this area is really full sun. So the sun probably dries out the water much better. That means that in summer, we probably should water this area much more frequent than that area. So now I'm ready to dig a hole, and you can see that the soil here just like bricks. It's very hard to dig. And that's the soil we got over here. Well, digging a hole in summer here is not an easy task. I have to call in the dig master of the farm here. In summer, there are actually lots of cracks, huge cracks, because the soil here gets contract so much when it's lost moisture. And just happened that we have one right over here, and I'll show you how deep that is. We already dug them probably 6 inches down, and there's a big hole, and you can see that it's probably another 8 inches or so deep. So this crack can go down very deep, and that's why that this area is probably shouldn't be a good area for building, because that will crack your foundation in no time. All right. Now that we have the hole, I want to line it up with some fertilizer. The fertilizer I'm going to use actually the cat poops we collected. We don't want to use the commercial cat litter, because then we cannot use it in the garden. So we basically just use the soil over here as cat litter. Most of people will suggest not to use cat litter for fertilize your garden, and rightly so, because there may be parasites and all that stuff in there. But for a fruit tree, that's not a problem. I have put the cat litter in a plastic bag and have it sit under the sun for 2 months now, and that probably will kill off that parasites somewhat. And you can see the plastic already kind of disintegrated because of the sun. And that's why we're really trying to limit the use of plastics over here in the garden. Okay, so now I'm going to get my tree out of the pot. Okay, it looks good. And so probably I want to scorch the side, just make sure it doesn't have circle around. So I backfilled the soil, and then I'm going to put some wood chips mulch around it, so that will slowly condition the soil and have the roots to have better soil to grow. And it will establish over here and give us some nice thick fruit in the future. The final step, of course, is water the plant really well. The soil I backfilled is pretty chunky, and also we have a big crack over there. So if I just take a hose and water it, the water probably will just disappear very quickly, and that will not be efficient. What we do is use a drip irrigation system. So in this case, it's a very low-tech one. I have a 5-gallon bucket that has a crack at the bottom. And so I filled it up with some soil, and then I put water in there. It slowly drip and wet the whole area, hopefully. And once it's done that, the soil will expand, and then probably will slowly close that crack. So I just need to keep eye on this watering on this plant until that we're confident that the soil is settled. Then we can water regularly. You can see that I pour water in there and they just completely disappeared. In this video, I showed you how we transplant fruit trees in the fall. The permaculture principle is that you need to adjust your method according to your site. Even though in the same site, only a few feet apart, the condition might be different. You need to be observative to understand what benefits the plants to grow and what could be a problem. There's no method that fits all, but the method of observation is what helps you to make your plants thrive. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West Farms.